Brazil is the destination choice of many African American men. I've been there to Brazil in 2018, and I can tell you they have women of all shapes, sizes, and colors, and they have some really, really exceptional looking dark-skinned black women, as well as other groups of women that are light-skinned or mulatto. Whatever you want, it's there. And it's not just black men going there looking for white Brazilians. You'd be surprised. A lot of black men are looking for black women in Brazil. Now that's important because, a lot of black men in America who are going to Brazil are trying to get away from, some of the bad attitudes that they say their sisters have, or the fact that, sisters are single moms, or obviously you've heard about the BBW issue getting out of hand. But that brings me back to Mr. Austin Holloman. I've, referenced him many times in my videos. He moved from Dallas, Texas to Brazil. And here's what he had to say about single moms in Brazil.
But I want to say this, the interview I did with the chick earlier, the single mother that you guys love to bash single mothers, whatever. Everybody loves to like this shit. They said that, a single mother this cute in the United States would have had you paying a bill or buying a designer purse before you even took her on a date. They're not the same. And when I read that, I was like, true. See, the women in the States, they want you to go all out for them, and you ain't even met them. You met them online, and they want you to pay their rent. At least here in Brazil, they give you some they cook you a meal, and they treat you real nice, and then you gotta pay their rent. And then the rent is only $200. So pick your poison, which one you want to do. I'm not telling y'all to date single mothers, but if you date a single mother, you better not pick one in the States. Get your passport, is really that bad.
Now guys, that's quite interesting because a lot of brothers don't really like dating single moms, but it's interesting. Black Brazilian single moms or Brazilian single moms seem to be a better choice than dealing with single moms in the States. And so with that being said, I ended up with this particular email from a brother. It brought me to this particular situation right here. And this particular situation brought me to the Black Brazil Today YouTube channel. Now it's by a brother who's a African American, it sounds like, but he focuses pretty much on Black Brazil and Black Brazilian relationships. And as it seems, this guy speaks like perfect Portuguese. But the name of this video is called "Why Are Most Single Women in Brazil Black?" That seems to be very interesting. Now, what I'd like to do is play a few excerpts of that video, and then we're going to come back.
For many years before I started traveling to Brazil, I was hearing about this issue of single black women in the United States and the difficulty they were having finding mates, particularly women as they started growing up we'll say the social ladder, getting more education, more high paying jobs, and they're looking for black men on their level. And it's not quite panning out. And people are asking why. So then when I started going to Brazil, in reality, it took a couple of years before I realized that this issue was something that was it was playing out in its own way in Brazil also. Even though I came across this topic a few times in the first decade, this question of single black women really started to blow up sometime. Like I said, I discovered it maybe, if we're going to just talk about online comments, I could go back to maybe 2000, I don't know, sometime between 2004 or 2008. But then it really started to take shape online in like 2012 and 13, where it just seems like tens of thousands of black women were commenting on this online to the point like, wow, this really is an issue. Black Brazilian women were just asking, why do so many men just pass us up? Black men and white men were passing them up. And this parcel of the population was having more difficulty securing long-term relationships, getting married. And, it was bearing out in the statistics, the difficulty of black women maintaining long-term relationships and getting married. And a lot of these women are telling their stories. They're talking about the difficulty they find as they climb the social ladder, as they attain more education, more money, how they feel ignored by black men. They open up their options to date white men. Very intriguing story here. I forget what year this is from, 2013 actually. One day I'm going to feature this particular article. This is a book that came out. I forget what year, but most of the studies where they're talking about what's called the solidão da mulher negra, the solitude of the loneliness of the black woman. A lot of it is based on this book called Vida à Regra by Claudete Alves. It just means, has it become the rule? You know, successful black man.
So guys, this is very interesting, because if we look at what we perceive is going on in Black Brazil, it's very similar to what's happening in the United States with black men. The black women in Brazil are saying very many things that black women in America are saying. What are they saying? They're saying that, hey, they can't get a man. The black man is going to the white woman when they're more educated. He's threatened to be around her. They're less desired. But now, this is interesting. Even you have a lot of single moms in Brazil. But now when black men are going over to Brazil, they're not encountering that particular situation from these particular women. Why is that the case? Because the black men in Brazil are going away from the black women in Brazil. They're going towards the white women in Brazil. But the black American men are going over to Brazil, and the black American men are not getting issues from those black women in Brazil. And we know that with the black men in Brazil situation, they're not going to be able to come to America usually and deal with black women in America. So why is it the case? I think this is the dynamic. The black men who are coming from America to Brazil, on average, despite what the women in Brazil make, are earning more money than the black women in Brazil. Now, we'll also just, be honest that the culture is still going to be a little bit different. And even, like you said, if it's a single mom, like I said, it's still going to be different than the single moms in America, because women still depend on men much more in Brazil. But what are we really seeing? We're seeing the femininity from black Brazilian women towards black men, because black men who are coming over to Brazil typically can play a part as far as supporting those women. So those women have a reason to be more submissive to those black men. Now, although it is cheaper, right? That's what you're seeing. Now, in America, could that be the same case if black men were more successful? I would say yes. Because if black men were coming from America that had the same money that black men in Brazil had, it would be a lot different. Now, don't get me wrong. I honestly believe that, let's say, for example, in America, if black men came to Brazil and was doing less, they wouldn't get the same respect. But obviously women are much nicer. They're much more feminine according to black men and stuff like that. They wear natural hair. I get those things. There are definitely some cultural things. But do black men care about what the Brazilian men have to say about black women in Brazil? I would say no. Black men are not going to sit by and even listen to what black men in Brazil have to say. They don't care, because they're going to be like, look, hey, your women don't treat me that way, so it doesn't really matter. No black man will say, you know what, since black men in Brazil are talking down on these black women in Brazil, I'm not going to go there. Why? Because you've heard too many success stories. But why is that? It costs a lot of money to go to Brazil. You can't just go to Brazil and be a loser, right? You have to have at least something going on. And the reason is, and I honestly believe that the financial factor, and also black men tend to, treat, women a little bit more better than probably Brazilian men do. And also black men are willing to get into long-term relationships with women in Brazil. That's what they're looking after. And I honestly believe that in any place, if black men are performing, you will get more femininity. Now, are you going to get the same amount of femininity you're going to get in America because of what's going on? I don't think so, right? But because of the economic situation and the way that, the black men in Brazil are dealing with black women in Brazil, it has to be a reason. I think the black men in Brazil feel disrespected. Although we may not be able to align with that culture, There has to be a reason why black men in Brazil are interested in non-black women. And it can't just be for the fact that, hey, you know, that woman is white and she's better than you. I think it has a lot to do with the same situations that black men are facing in America. But do black men care about black men's experience in Brazil? I really don't think so. But guys, what do you think? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Jaunt. I really appreciate you for all that you do. We're out.